We've got a little bit of New World news for you guys here in this one. Recently, there was a Balance of Power episode released, and within that Balance of Power episode, there were some changes mentioned coming to gyms in Season 4. So the reason I wanted to make this video is a follow-up to a video that I released a little while ago about how gyms are going to work in New World Season 4. Well, now there was a little bit of a change coming into those gyms, so just wanted to keep you guys updated and keep you in the know about these changes. There was also some pretty interesting information released via the official New World Discord, so I wanted to take this opportunity to go over some of that information as well, just to keep you guys updated on what's going on in New World. So if you are unaware, gyms in Season 4 are going to be changed pretty drastically. You're now going to be able to slot a gym and scale your weapon off of intelligence or focus. I'm not going to go into depth about how that's going to work here, but if you're interested, I'll make sure to link that video down in the description below. But the thing that I wanted to keep you guys updated on is that there has been a nerf coming into those gyms. So previously, the gyms were going to scale 90% off of intelligence and 80% off of focus. Well, this is now getting nerfed. So whenever this change hits Season 4, gyms are now going to scale 75% off of intelligence and 65% off of focus. I personally think this is a really good change because I think that whenever they were scaling 90-80, that was going to be a bit too much. I think having that come into live could have been a pretty rough go for a lot of players. So I'm glad that they made this change. I think this will still provide for some pretty interesting builds and some pretty big build diversity, but I think it brings it more in line with what it should have been to begin with. So along those same lines, in that Balance of Power video, they also mentioned the intelligence ATB or attribute threshold bonuses are stronger than the other ATBs for the other attributes. So the 150 intelligence attribute bonus is going to be adjusted from 15% elemental damage down to 10% for Season 4, and they're going to continue to evaluate those attribute threshold bonuses. There is also a flail bug in the game right now where the flail currently inherits the reaction of the last weapon that attacked in certain situations, and this should be fixed in Season 4. And then there is also a flail haste bug that's in the game right now that might be fixed in Season 4. And I have also recently released a video expressing my concerns about how they were updating the game with their heavy-handedness with some of the adjustments and some of the patches. Well, Dave came in that Balance of Power video and made some pretty interesting statements, or some pretty good statements in my opinion. They stated that they were heavy-handed with the shirking heels change and some other changes that have been happening recently. They liked the frequency or pacing of the changes they're making, but they disliked the magnitude of those changes. So they're going to start making smaller incremental changes, which is very good. If you watch the video that I posted several days ago, you'll know how I feel about that. And so I agree with this, and I'm super glad to hear them talk about it. I'm super glad that they're going to start making incremental changes versus being so heavy-handed with some of their adjustments. And they're also adjusting shirking heals. The cooldown is now getting changed from the previous 10 seconds that was mentioned down to now 7 seconds whenever this comes into Season 4. There was also one other big thing mentioned in that Balance of Power video that I wanted to talk about, and that is the Boltcaster artifact. So the Boltcaster was going to have a stun on the bow. It was a perk. It was going to stun you if you're at full health. Well, that perk is now going to be changed to a perk that stacks a charge of lightning for every attack you land. And at 3 charges, you'll do a burst of lightning damage. So I think this is a much better option for that bow, because I can imagine running around getting stunned by a bow in OPR. It was incredibly strong on the PTR, and I feel like it would have just been a disaster if this would have landed in live. So I think this is going to be a much better perk overall for the game. So the other thing that I wanted to talk about here in this video was a conversation that was had in the official New World Discord. There were some people chatting in the Discord, and one of the developers came in and chimed in with a few answers. So one of the statements that was made, it said, I mean, AGS has kind of freely stated that their code is a pretty jumbled mess. LMAO, like how when Shield Bash Stun wasn't affected by Freedom, they couldn't fix it for a whole season because it was in a dangerous line of code. So I think this has been a concern for a lot of players for New World for a very long time. Well, luckily we have a response to this from NW Delacron. Came in and he said, our combat code is being completely rewritten for better flexibility, stability, and more performant, especially with client memory. We'll be sharing details for a related PTR test within the next few weeks, actually. So that gives us a little something to look forward to, because Season 4 is definitely a little bit dry in terms of content. So at least we're getting some big changes coming to the combat code, and hopefully that will help a whole lot of things coming into the game. NW Delacron also confirmed that this should help with some desyncs as well, which has been a problem for New World since the beginning of the game. So anything we can have implemented that's going to help with the desyncs and some performance issues is going to be greatly appreciated by the community. So the entire combat code is going to be completely rewritten, and we should be seeing some of that here in the next few weeks. There was also another very interesting statement that was made, and it says, could this be a case where the PTR could be used better? These days, there's rarely large numbers on the PTR. Maybe there could be some sort of incentives for more players to join the PTR and in turn give a more realistic test environment. So Delacron said it's something that they're talking about internally, and they've talked about this constantly since the PTR was planned. However, they feel like the problem is that there's always going to be like a hockey stick of engagement. So everyone's going to come in and peek at the new things going on in the PTR. They're going to mess around for a little bit. They're going to log out. Then they're not going to log back into the PTR. So it makes it a little bit hard for them to gather data. So that's why the incentivized tests are an option. So he went on to say that the incentivized tests are possible, but they run the risk of creating a situation where they only get participation if folks get rewarded. And then even so, most will only do the bare minimum to the letter for the rewards. So then participation criteria becomes difficult to settle on without providing a vector for abuse. So for example, like time in the PTR can be easily idled, matches participated, but then some people will purposefully tank matches for sheer numbers and so on. So this has just kind of been an ongoing topic of conversation rolling around the New World community for a long time, that people just don't feel like the PTR is getting utilized to its fullest potential. And oftentimes it does feel that way because there are bugs that were on the PTR that people have reported, and then somehow they still work their way into the live environment. So I am definitely not opposed to some sort of incentivized test on the PTR. I wish they would at least try something like that to incentivize people to go on there, test, and submit good feedback. But I understand their point here too. So we're just gonna have to wait and see how those things shake out over time. There was also some frustrations expressed in the Discord about how the minor patches require such a large update. Delacron came in and assured us that there was a change made to the build pipeline with the expansion. They found an edge case during the hotfixing process that could cause large deltas between builds. So they have an engine fix for this in season 4. So moving forward, updates should be much smaller, more regularly again after that point. So I think that's great news because the updates have been rather large recently. And then there was one other thing that I found very interesting in this little conversation that was happening on Discord, but I couldn't find it to reference it in the video. But there was a mention about the Lord of the Rings game that's being developed, or the Lord of the Rings MMO. And basically the wording that I remember said that right now there is no Lord of the Rings without New World. And they went on to say that it's very much still the focus, or New World is very much still the focus of everyone in the studio. So I found that to be pretty interesting, that there is no Lord of the Rings without New World. That was a pretty interesting statement that was made. And then there was also a statement that he went on to say that there's only like 5 people working on Lord of the Rings at the moment. So it seems like it's just going to be like years away, which I think we all assumed, but it was very interesting to hear him say only 5 people, or a very small team. So based on that, it doesn't appear like New World is peeling off a lot of people to go work on Lord of the Rings, as a lot of people have speculated. It does seem like they're still very much focused on New World for the foreseeable future. And Lord of the Rings is probably in such early stages that they don't have a large team, and I would imagine that'll ramp up as production begins to start, and then maybe we'll see some people peel off of New World and go over there. But it doesn't look like we're going to get Lord of the Rings for a very, very long time. That's going to do it for this one, boys and girls. I really just wanted to make this video to keep you guys in the loop of what was going on in New World, and primarily for the gym changes, because I did that video a little while ago explaining how those were going to work. So I just wanted to make a follow-up to make sure that you guys were aware of the percentage changes that's coming in, because there was a little bit of a nerf to those. That way, if you guys were planning on building out something for that, you would know and understand that there is a nerf coming in, and that might change your mind. It might not. You may still build something out, but I just wanted to make you guys aware. But thank you guys so much for watching. I greatly appreciate it. And I would also love to know what you guys think about all of these things that's going on in New World right now. The combat code being completely rewritten, a lot of the things happening, the lack of content coming in for season 4. What do we think they're working on, and if we're going to get some big updates in 2024? Anyway, that'll do it for this one, boys and girls. Thank you guys so much again for watching. I greatly appreciate it. If you enjoy New World content, please make sure to like and subscribe. I'd appreciate that as well. And if you're interested in hearing more of these types types of news videos. Maybe we'll make this a regular thing. We'll upload a news video every Saturday, potentially, for everything that happened during the week. If that's something you guys would be interested in, let me know, and we may be able to make that a staple of the channel, once a week news videos or something to that effect. And of course, I stream every single Monday, every single Friday, 8 o'clock a.m. CST over on twitch.tv/BDLG and right here on YouTube as well. Thank you guys again for watching. We'll see you in the next one.